"Those cars aren't for you, kid." The salesman's voice echoed through the luxury car showroom as other customers turned to stare. A young man in casual clothes was standing next to a gleaming Ferrari. But the salesman was walking right past him toward an older white couple. "Let me show you something more in your price range. We have some used Toyotas out back." But what this car salesman didn't know was that he was about to dismiss the wealthiest customer who had ever walked into his dealership, and what happened next would become the most expensive mistake in automotive sales history. If you want to know how pure prejudice cost one salesman the biggest commission of his career, hit subscribe. November 8, 1987, Beverly Hills. A man in dark sunglasses and simple clothing walked quietly through the parking lot of Precision Motors, one of California's most prestigious exotic car dealerships. He wore a plain black jacket, jeans, and white sneakers. The baseball cap pulled low over his face made him look like any other young person window shopping at luxury cars. Nobody in the bustling showroom recognized him as he entered through the glass doors. Just another curious browser among the Ferraris and Lamborghinis. Like the man had specifically chosen to dress down and shop alone because he wanted to experience car buying without the circus that usually surrounded his public appearances. He'd been thinking about purchasing something special to celebrate his recent album success and had heard that Precision Motors had the best selection of exotic vehicles in Los Angeles. What he didn't anticipate was that his casual appearance would trigger the most insulting sales experience of his life. Rick Thompson had been selling luxury cars at Precision Motors for 12 years and prided himself on knowing exactly which customers were worth his time. His success came from quickly identifying serious buyers versus tire kickers, and he'd developed what he considered an infallible system for spotting people who could actually afford six-figure automobiles. Thompson made his living on commission, and every minute wasted on unqualified customers was money lost. But when Thompson spotted the young man in casual clothes slowly walking through the showroom, everything about the stranger triggered his dismissal instincts. Early 20s, black, dressed down, definitely not the demographic that typically purchased from Precision Motors. Thompson had seen hundreds of young people wander in to gawk at expensive cars they'd never be able to buy. The stranger moved methodically through the showroom, examining different vehicles and reading specification cards. He seemed particularly interested in performance specifications and technical details, rather than just admiring the car's appearance. Thompson watched as the young man spent several minutes studying a red Ferrari Testarossa, obviously fascinated by something he'd never be able to afford. Thompson was helping an older couple when he noticed the young man examining a black Lamborghini Countach, worth $150,000. And this was exactly the kind of situation that annoyed him. Young people treating his showroom like a free museum while serious customers waited for attention. "Excuse me?" Thompson called out as he approached, his tone making it clear this wasn't friendly. "Can I help you with something?" The stranger looked up, his face partially hidden by sunglasses and his cap. "Yes, sir," the young man replied politely. "I'm interested in your exotic car inventory. Possibly making a purchase today." Thompson looked him up and down with skepticism. Baseball cap, casual clothes, soft-spoken, definitely not a Precision Motors customer. "Making a purchase? These vehicles started around $80,000. Are you familiar with our price range?" The stranger remained calm. "I understand these are expensive cars. I'm prepared to pay cash if I find something suitable." Thompson almost laughed. "Cash? For a Lamborghini?" He gestured toward the Countach. "Ma'am, this particular vehicle costs $150,000. That's cash, not financing. Are you certain you understand what you're looking at?" Other customers were starting to notice the conversation. But here's where it got really insulting. Thompson decided to make his point more directly. Look, son, I appreciate your interest, but these cars are for serious collectors and successful professionals. People who've worked their entire careers to afford this level of luxury. Or maybe you would be more comfortable at one of the Honda dealers down the street. The stranger tried to stay diplomatic. I understand your concern about serious buyers, but I'm genuinely interested in making a purchase today. Could you show me what you have in the $100,000 to $200,000 range? Thompson's expression became even more condescending. You're interested in a $200,000 car? What exactly do you do for work that gives you that kind of purchasing power? I'm in the music industry, the stranger replied quietly. Thompson barely suppressed a snort. Music industry? Let me guess. You're in a local band, play clubs on the weekend. His tone made it clear what he thought of musicians' earning potential. Let me explain something about our clientele, Thompson said, speaking loud enough for nearby customers to hear. But these vehicles are purchased by entertainment executives, successful business people, established professionals. People with documented income and proven financial stability. The stranger maintained composure, despite the public humiliation. I understand the investment involved. I'm financially prepared to make a significant purchase today. Thompson became more aggressive. Financially prepared. Based on what? Music gigs? He turned slightly toward watching customers, as if sharing a joke. Do you have any idea what the insurance alone costs on a Lamborghini? But what Thompson didn't know was that someone else in the showroom was beginning to recognize the young man. David Chen, a successful entertainment attorney who regularly purchased vehicles at Precision Motors, had been browsing when he became aware of the confrontation. Something about the young man's voice seemed familiar, and the more he listened, the more certain he became. Chen approached Thompson confidently. Rick, I think there might be a problem here. Thompson turned, recognizing Chen as a valued customer. No problem, David. Just explaining our qualification process to someone who might be more comfortable shopping elsewhere. I don't think you understand who you're talking to, Chen said carefully. Thompson became defensive. I know exactly who I'm talking to. Another young person who thinks he can afford cars that cost more than most people's houses. Chen looked at the young man, then back at Thompson. Rick, you might want to reconsider your approach. But what Chen said next would change everything. That young man you've been dismissing is Michael Jackson. The words hit the showroom like a bomb. Every conversation stopped instantly. Every person in Precision Motors turned to stare at the man in the baseball cap. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, the biggest star on the planet. Thompson's face went completely white. That's impossible, he stammered. Chen nodded toward Michael. Would you mind showing Mr. Thompson who he's been treating like an unqualified customer? Michael looked around at the dozen people who had gathered, then slowly removed his baseball cap and dark sunglasses. The most recognizable face in entertainment was revealed to the stunned customers and staff. It was really him. Michael Jackson, standing in Precision Motors, having just been told he should shop for Hondas instead. Thompson stood frozen, realizing what had just happened. He had just told Michael Jackson he wasn't wealthy enough to buy expensive cars. The same Michael Jackson whose net worth exceeded $100 million. The showroom was dead silent. But what Michael Jackson did next shocked everyone. Michael looked at Rick Thompson with understanding rather than anger. Mr. Thompson, Michael said quietly, I'd like to ask you something important. Thompson was visibly trembling. If I wasn't Michael Jackson, Michael continued, would you have treated me any differently? Would you have dismissed any young black customer the same way you just dismissed me? The question hung in the air like a challenge everyone could feel. Thompson opened his mouth, but no words came because everyone knew the answer. "You assumed I couldn't afford these cars because of how I look," Michael said calmly. "You suggested I should shop for Hondas instead of Lamborghinis. You questioned my financial qualifications without knowing anything about my situation." The entire showroom watched in stunned silence. "But you just showed everyone here what you really think about young black customers, regardless of their actual financial capability." Several customers looked visibly uncomfortable as they realized they had witnessed something significant. "How many other customers have you treated this way?" Michael asked. Thompson couldn't answer because they all knew. But what Michael did next will restore your faith in humanity. Michael looked around at the customers who had witnessed his humiliation. "Everyone, I apologize that your shopping experience was interrupted. No customer should be prejudged based on their appearance." He turned back to Thompson. "Mr. Thompson, I'm still interested in purchasing a vehicle today, but I want you to serve me exactly the same way you would serve any other qualified customer." Thompson nodded frantically, right hands shaking. "Mr. Jackson, please. I had no idea who you were." "That's exactly the problem," Michael said gently. "You didn't know who I was, so you felt comfortable dismissing me based on assumptions about my appearance." What happened next was unprecedented in automotive sales history. Michael spent the next hour test driving vehicles and asking detailed questions. Thompson, now completely professional but clearly shaken, provided thorough information about every car Michael examined. In the end, Michael purchased 3 vehicles: a red Ferrari Testarossa, a black Lamborghini Countach, and a white Porsche 911 Turbo. The total purchase price was $387,000, paid in cash as promised. 20 minutes after completing the purchase, Thompson approached Michael. "Mr. Jackson, could I speak with you privately?" Michael nodded graciously, and they walked to Thompson's office. "Sir, I need to apologize not just for failing to recognize you, but for treating any customer the way I treated you today." Michael listened patiently. "I've been selling cars for 12 years, always telling myself I was being practical, focusing on qualified customers. But today showed me I've been making judgments based on prejudices I didn't realize I had." Michael nodded. "Recognition is the first step toward change." "I want to do better," Thompson said. "Could you help me understand how?" Michael spent 30 minutes discussing unconscious bias in sales, treating every customer with respect, regardless of appearance, and creating welcoming environments. 6 months later, Precision Motors implemented comprehensive anti-discrimination training. Thompson used his own experience as the primary case study, describing how his assumptions had nearly cost the dealership its biggest single-day sale. Michael never spoke publicly about the incident, but Thompson sent him a letter a year later. "You could have destroyed my career that day. Instead, you taught me to be better. Our customer satisfaction scores have improved 40% since we changed our approach."